the weirdest thing your partner does that you've just accepted? Story 1. She sleeps with her eyes open occasionally and will also sometimes laugh like someone just told her the greatest joke ever told while sleeping. I've accepted my little demon. Story 2. My wife is a neat freak, always cleans up after herself and is putting things away. However, I noticed that when she runs out of toilet paper, she will just take the new roll and stand it on top of the empty tube instead of replacing it. I asked her why she does that, and she said it's the one thing I allow myself to be lazy about. I think it's hilarious. Story 3. Anything that could go or fit on top of anything else is called a hat. There are no lids, there are no covers, there are no toppers or caps. We have a top-loader freezer. She wouldn't say close the lid. She'd say, put the freezer hat back on. Bottle caps? No. Bottle hats. Does the pot of boiling water have a lid? Nope. It has a hat. Wine bottle stopper? Try again. That's a hat. Trash bin cover? Trash bin hat. There are hats, and only hats. Edit to add that she's a native English speaker, but her family is Lithuanian. I think it's something she picked up from her dad as a kid, and it just became a habit. She is aware that it's goofy. Story 4. My husband occasionally talks in his sleep and will also laugh like a little girl in his sleep. It absolutely cracks me up and creeps me out at the same time. Story 5. She does gatherer things, bringing little trinkets home and presenting them to me. I always say very impressive. She puts little piles of things all over the house and gets upset if they are disturbed, or I suggest getting rid of them. Story 6. She mostly closes doors, but only mostly. Not fully ajar, not fully closed. I have never seen this wonderful woman completely close a door in 13 years. Luckily, it's just inside doors. Story 7. He gets very concerned about his socks to the point he will count them when he's folding laundry and get irritated when he can't find all of them. Then he accused me of doing something with them, like I would do anything with his stupid socks. Story 8. When he wakes up in the morning, he puts on all his clothes, just to walk to the bathroom, take them off, and have shower. Why? I will never understand that LOL. Story 9. He always finds random objects around the house to make into a hat for me. Fresh laundry, hat random plushies, hat bubble wrap, hat. Then he makes one for himself. We take a funny picture and hang it on our hat photos wall. Story 10. He lays on the floor to decompress, which isn't too bizarre. But he lays down in weird spots and occasionally accidentally scares the out of me. One time, he was lying on the floor in the front entrance closet, petting the cat, and fell asleep. I just saw his legs on the ground sticking out from the closet. My first thought was that he had fallen, hurt himself, and was unconscious. But he was just snuggling the cat. Another time, I couldn't find him anywhere in the house and started to freak out. But he was lying on the back deck on his belly, talking to the skunk that lives under the deck. This was at night, so all I see is a man sprawled on the deck in the dark. Scared me silly. Story 11. He needs the GPS even though he knows the area and the way. If the GPS goes out, oddly panic. He's always hot no matter what. He's a nice furnace, but I'm always freezing cold and needing a million layers. He's gone to the doctor, and they said he's in perfect health and everything is working efficiently. When he's alone, he talks to himself in third person, making comments on the things he's doing. Ladies and gentlemen, eccentricities has done it again. He's made the best omelet in history. For the third time this month, has the man of the year. Look at him getting a glass and opening the fridge. Ooh, is he going for orange juice? Yes, he is. Okay, now he needs to do something, but what was it? Ah, right, the toast. The toast. Everybody. He almost forgot the toast. Stuff like that. I'm glad he does it loudly. It's hilarious. Especially when he gets tired and stops mid-sentence but keeps doing what he's doing in silence. Even funnier when he starts speaking again all of a sudden. Story 12. I don't know how weird this is, but my boyfriend constantly talks to himself. He also gives voices to our pets. 2 cats and a dog. Each pet has a distinct voice and accent. Some of them have catchphrases. Sometimes when he's getting ready for work in the morning, I'll hear him having conversations with the pets and himself in all the various voices. It's hilarious and adorable. Sometimes I catch myself doing it now too. Story 13. He does this loud chicken noise like a bawcock, just randomly, and it could be anywhere. It's never been inappropriate, but it's always surprising and I laugh every freaking time. Story 14. Lose her all the time. I never thought I would be the organized one in the relationship, but I have routines for where my stuff goes. Keys hang on the wall by the front door. Sunglasses hang next to that. Wallet, pen, and knife go on the table just below. Her sunglasses can literally be anywhere. I've found them in the freezer, behind the toilet in the bathroom, and tucked between the cushions on the couch. Her tiny purse that she carries ID, CCs, and a little cash is the same. It could be anywhere. So when it's time to go do something outside, she's very rush, let's get going now, until it comes time for her to find the purse, sunglasses, and keys. Then it's stand around and wait or help her find them. I've started adding 10 minutes to our timelines just for that reason. I find it somewhat endearing. But man, I wish she'd just put her where it goes. Edit some of you never go outside and it shows. Story 15. Sleeps on my chest. In movies you always see the girl with her head on the guy's big burly chest. But my likes to use my as his own personal pillows. Story 16. Every time we watch a horror movie, my partner insists on turning all the lights on and then falls asleep within the first 15 minutes. She swears she's not scared. Story 17. My youngest had trouble learning to eat solids, and my wife spent 3 to 5 meals a day for like 6 months mimicking eating to her. It's now 9 years later, and after every first bite of a meal, she goes, mmm. It's a charming relic of a stressful time in life. Story 18. I'm a big proponent of farting early in a relationship. It lets your significant other know that you're comfortable around them. My wife, on the other hand, hid her farts from me for years, until recently. She had an abdominal surgery, and afterwards she was full of gas, so she was going to be ripping for a while. I got her home and was getting her ready for bed, and she looked at me with horror in her eyes and blasted louder and longer than I thought was humanly possible. Now, she'll get home from work, step in the house, and just away with a monster she was saving all the way home. I love her. They insist that the socks lost in the dryer are being sacrificed to the laundry gods for good fortune, and frankly, I'm starting to believe it too. Story 19. This one is innocent, but just so odd to me. When you open our fridge where the handle meets the door, there is a hole in the top of it, and every single time she opens the fridge, she puts her finger in the hole and pulls it out. It makes this popping sound like you can make with the side of your cheek. And then she lets out a quiet little giggle. It's adorable. Story 20. He makes weird noises. Like, we'll just be sitting there and suddenly he will go, oh, wee shebang, aha. It scares the out of me because it is loud, random, and usually followed by him flipping his hands all around. No, it isn't Tourette's. It's just him blowing off steam, or so he says. Edit to add. He does not have autism either. Story 21. Absolutely nothing weird at all. I've been with my beloved husband for 20 years now. At first I thought he was just hiding his weirdness, and all of his dorky niche interests would come out eventually. He never cracked. The dude even sleeps 100 normal. All of his activities and hobbies are socially acceptable. He enjoys martial arts and craft beer and hiking and watching sports with his buddies. He wears normal clothes like he is going out at all times. He loves gourmet food but won't eat anything too weird. I can think of a single thing he's ever done that I could describe as weird or quirky. And that in itself makes him unique among everyone I have ever met. Story 22. Can I say what I do that my partner has accepted? One day I woke up and my now husband told me, "You're really creepy to sleep next to, do you know that?" I asked him why, what happened. What did I say, or do I talk in my sleep when I'm stressed and say odd things like, "Where are my moon boxes? The stars are bleeding." He stated he woke up in the night and saw me lying flat on my back with both arms outstretched to the ceiling, like I'm waiting for the aliens to come pick me up. I slowly reached one arm over to scratch my outstretched arm, then slowly reached over to scratch the other arm. I resumed outstretching. I then slowly lowered both arms to the bed. I told him, "Oh, huh? I thought I outgrew that as a kid, because I used to wake up as a child because my arms would be tired from holding them towards the ceiling all night. We like to call it my trying to phone into the alien sleeping move." Oof. Edit. I love that one of my highest upvoted Reddit comments is about me doing something silly in my sleep and finding out there are other people out there that do this exact same thing, and I feel a little less alone and a little more normal. Story 23. My wife says no to almost everything I ask her to do. If I ask her to bring me toilet paper because I'm out, she will say no, but then proceed to bring it to me. It's her way of practicing being able to say no. Story 24. My partner moans with pleasure when he pees. The first few times I laughed and maybe joked about it through the door, thinking he was being silly. 4 years in, nope, he just loves peeing so much that he moans with pleasure. I can't say I like it, but as long as he washes his hands after, I can live with it. Story 25. When she gets a little too drunk, it's like someone flips a switch. One moment she is totally fine. The next, she speaks in complete gibberish and says things that make no sense. And that's usually my sign that it's time for us to go home. Story 26. My wife microwaves lettuce. Like when she eats a salad at home, she warms up the lettuce. Imagine if you cut off one of your feet and left it to rot for about a week. That's what hot lettuce smells like. Story 27. Anywhere. At any time. If there is a dog around, my husband squeals like a child being given their first piece of candy and does the whole, "Oh, what a sweet baby, ong." I understand being like, "Oh, what a cute dog." But this is every dog, in every place we have ever been and every place we will ever go. This includes being in the car and seeing a dog in another car while we have our 3 dogs in our car. As a 37-year-old mature, educated, well-respected man, and other people think it's cute because they only see it happen once with their dogs. After 13 years, I'm just like, yeah, baby, it's a cute AF dog. Story 28. She usually dresses normal, but sometimes she goes through phases where she dresses like people from different eras. Like a 70s disco phase outfit, or a 80s rock chick outfit, or a 1950s dress outfit. It's one thing to do this for a day or something. She will do it for like 3 to 4 weeks straight, ordering clothes on Amazon to make new outfits, wearing the outfits to go grocery shopping or walking the dog, etc. And then she rinses and repeats every once in a while. She also will obsessively watch movies from that era when this happens. She has been doing this for 20 years. She is known in our neighborhood for doing this. Story 29 is the loudest teeth brusher. He clears his throat so freaking loud and it's so gross. I have accepted it and try ignoring it. We've been married 14 years. LOL. Story 30. He always has to sleep face away from me. Even when he's asleep and I switch sides after 10 minutes, he turns around again. Apparently, I talk a lot in my sleep, and I can actually hold conversations as I'm told. I don't remember anything when I wake up. I've once tried to explain that today is Thursday, so that means tomorrow is Tuesday. Story 31. Definitely night terrors. Me kissing him before I leave. Bye, see you this afternoon. Him terrified expression trying to get away without moving. Me, what's wrong? Him, there's a leprechaun behind you. Me, okay. I'll put him outside when I leave. Story 32. Mine will play our fat cat like bagpipes. Without hurting her, hell, hold her under one arm until she makes her annoyed growl whine, then pat her belly to make the noise change pitch and rhythm. I honestly don't get it, but whatever makes him happy. Also, the cat is obsessed with him and will let him do this for ages. If she runs away, she comes back to him in 2 minutes to do it again. Weirdo creeps. Both. Story 33 is a biologist and absolutely cannot stop himself from interacting with any animal insect that his brain has deemed interesting. I've spotted him softly talk to bugs and bees when he thinks no one's looking. Also, as long as he has deemed it safe, if we spot a snail and he's really good at spotting snails, it's insane, he will pick it up no matter the circumstances. We've spent hours in park sanctuaries in one single spot if he spotted a cool lizard or an animal because we must make new animal friends. His parents tell me all the different insects, bugs, and tiny animals he used to bring to them as a baby. LMFAO. Melt his ice cream in the microwave. Story 34. When she uses the last item in a package, e.g., a box of granola bars, a bag of crackers, etc., she just leaves the packaging sitting empty in the cupboard instead of throwing it the trash like a normal person. Story 35. I don't know if it's weird generally or something I'm not accustomed to, but they sing my praises to anyone who will listen. When I meet someone they know, no matter how close their relationship is, I am frequently told how highly my partner speaks of me. I genuinely don't think they've ever badmouthed me to anyone. We went to therapy together recently for a check-in, and the provider mentioned that he wished his other clients talked about each other the way we do. LOL. Story 36 loses one sock. Shelby sitting in a chair watching TV or something, and 20 minutes later one sock is gone. I'd understand if she took both of them off. Heat, comfort, whatever. But one is just weird. Story 37. When they eat fruit gummies, they insist on creating a suction between their lips and the gummy, then sucking in as hard as they can until the gummy shoots back into their mouth. I've made them swear to me that they'll never do that while they're alone, because the number of times I've watched them nearly choke when the gummy hits the back of their throat is too many to count. I love that idiot. Edit, y'all for real have terrible standards for how you treat partners or treated in a relationship. Go to therapy. Story 38. She has a diagnosed attention disorder so that when I came home from work it's common to find things half done, like she swept and left piles of dust and dirt accumulated in some corner, wet clothes in the laundry, dishes with soap and bubbles, hot coffee in the pot without coffee, things like that. I understand that when she start doing something, gets distracted and move on to something else, for me it's weird and exhausting, but I love her just the way she is. And she also likes to eat rice mixed with mayonnaise. My wife was a hoarder of beads. She tended to hoard in general, but I insisted to keep it in check. But the beads were the exception. She passed away, and I have weeks of boxing the stuff up to sell. I do miss her with her beloved crafts. The house seems empty without the stacks of totes. Story 39. Meows at cats. I don't know why. I've asked and never got a good explanation. I just accept it now. She thinks she can talk to cats for some reason, and she doesn't even like cats. Story 40. Well, there's two things. One, I just accept and let it go. The other I still get agitated with and say something. So, the first one is the nervous laughter bit. Whenever she's talking to someone she doesn't know really well, she does a lot of loud, nervous laughter. I've accepted that one and usually try to jump in and help her out so her laughing calms down. I feel like that one is my duty. The second one I simply can't let go. The funny part is I don't get agitated at her. I get agitated for her. She has a habit of apologizing for random things for which no apology is necessary. For example, if she's walking out of an elevator and people are in the way, which they shouldn't be because people getting off come first, otherwise no one can get on, she will not only say excuse me, but she will apologize. I know it's a nervous thing, but I always say out loud, don't apologize for doing nothing wrong, love, and then I'll loudly say, excuse me, and start pushing through anyone in the way. They should be apologizing for being in the way when they are the ones breaking the normal flow and etiquette of elevators. So even though I'm agitated, it's not at her. It's more that I don't want my love to be apologizing to rude idiots. Story 41. She doesn't snore, but she moans on the exhale. It sounds somewhere between anguish and sensual pleasure. Every solstice, equinox, and midpoint between, she pours a shot of nice whiskey into the woods as an offering to. Honestly, I don't know. If I come home when she's napping, she tries very hard to pretend that she wasn't asleep. Her hair is a mess and her face is lined with pillow creases. Needless to say, she's not fooling anyone. Story 42. My boyfriend is almost constantly singing he is a great singer or making silly noises at home. He ad-libs nonsense words or noises and will do so fast. It is like a stream of consciousness sort of thing. The best way I can describe it is like Busta Rhymes' verse in Look at Me Now, but it's nonsense, and he does it for hours sometimes, lol. Story 43. When he's the big spoon, he scoots over on his side as he goes, Noom! And then when he rests his head on my back as he hugs me tight around the waist, he goes, click! I'm a backpack. Story 44. He likes to simulate rocket launches and landings on my. Not necessarily weird, but interesting. He's taught me a lot about space and physics though, so I can't complain, lol. Story 45. My wife will give very detailed and specific directions when asking me to pick something up or to bring her something, in a very confident manner. She is almost always incorrect, like asking me to go get her black scarf before we go out. She'll say something like it's on the third shelf in the bedroom closet, on the left side, underneath the rainbow scarf and the red scarf. And there's not only no black scarf, but no scarves at all in the closet. Story 46. From the other side of the aisle, but for all my life, no one batted an eye when I chewed on cupcake muffin wrappers to savor the baked goodness encrusted thereon, until I did it once in front of my wife, and she looked at me like I had just skinned a baby. Ever since then, I've been waiting until I know she's looking in my direction and scarf them down like Zoidberg eating trash, because what I see on her face is the strongest emotion I've ever been able to elicit in any human being, and I need to hold on to that. She hasn't asked that I stop, so I take that as acceptance. Story 47. She loves capybaras. She makes squealing noises when she sees a video of one. I told her once for fun we could get one and get a little pool for it. Never seen that woman give me such an intense look of excitement in my life. Story 48. Every week in the supermarket. My wife. This exotic soup looks interesting. I don't think I have ever had this flavor. Me? Okay, you get that. I'm going to get plain vegetable soup, for reasons that will become apparent later. My wife. Okay, whatevs. Fam. Later at home, every week. My wife, I think I fancy soup. Would you make me some soup? Me. Which one do you want? My wife. Just the plain vegetable one. Me. Not the most recent exotic one or any of the other 45 tins of interesting soups? My wife. I think I am just in the mood for vegetable. Story 49. Constant corny jokes and talks to every stranger in this weirdly polite voice and manner when we're traveling. It's annoying AF after 21 years of marriage, but it's just who he is. He has no concept of it being a little weird and doesn't seem to catch the way people respond when he talks like that. Like they don't know if he's joking or not. Story 50. When people are rude to him in traffic, instead of giving them the finger, he sticks his tongue out and makes a face, like an offended kindergartner would do. According to him, it confuses people, and he loves it. Story 51. He screams at night or wakes me up to try to protect me, cover me, etc. On my side of things, I've noticed he has started to say snacky snack instead of just snack, which is a me thing. Story 52. Am convinced she doesn't know how to flush a toilet. It isn't some Fockers thing of letting it mellow. An average of 5 times a day I open the lid to a surprise. 18 years in, and several hundred reminders, she still doesn't flush. Story 53. She's a night owl. Am a day function. Sometimes she'll be up as I'm heading to work. Her body won't let her readjust her schedule to be a day person. We've tried. Story 54. He peels off his nasty socks and will toss them anywhere. No surface in our house is safe from his socks. We've discussed it many times. I've tried strategically placed sock baskets, to no avail. It's one thing I just have to accept he won't change. So sometimes I get so grossed out I just throw them away. Story 55-1. Can't watch a horror movie with her because she just laughed during most of the movie because she thinks it's over the top, not believable too. Mismatched utensils versus the meal. Apparently, ice cream can be eaten with a butter knife and a soup with a fork. Story 56. When I'm using my laptop, he finds it hilarious to sneakily or otherwise push the caps lock key. When I don't notice and then go and type, like this, I usually playfully yell to him that he is and he cackles like a bog witch. I love him so much. In return, I occasionally sneak his phone and take a ridiculous photo and replace his background so he doesn't notice until he unlocks his phone XD. I don't do it too often though because he isn't without his phone much. Story 57. My boyfriends. Subway order tuna salad and salami on Italian herb and cheese bread with peppers and pickles. Both tuna salad and salami in every bite. Story 58. Likes horror and thrillers, but even in a very normal movie that isn't classified as horror or thriller, the smallest unexpected appearance of a character or loud noise makes him scream like a banshee. Our dog used to run wild when he screamed thinking we are under attack, but now he is used to the screams and just opens one eye to check everything is okay before snoozing back. Story 59. Only sings when he thinks I can hear him. It's a shame, because I love the sound of his voice. Even listening to him sing nursery rhymes to our daughter or hum along with the radio is a treat. It makes me miss when we went to church, because I used to look forward to hearing him sing at least once a week, but has self-conscious about it. And the more enthusiastic I get, the less he sings. So I just keep my mouth shut and look forward to the rare moments. Story 60. My husband immigrated for grad school, so this stuff makes some sense. But he uses weird words for things close the light take a picture for you when he wants you to be in it. Also, he talks in his sleep, but he speaks 3 languages fluently, so I have no clue what he says or even which one he is speaking most of the time. Story 61. To be fair, we do it to each other, but I can't think of anything weirder whenever I see him. Sometimes just randomly start patting at me or messing up my hair like someone would do to a cat. And it's the funniest thing switching multiple voices in one sentence, 2 random scream, singing 3 random like 20-minute hyper outbursts where she essentially just wrestles me and sings very loudly or talks about what she's excited for the day. Story 62. My GF puts makeup on every single day, which is cool. She's gorgeous, with or without it. However, even on Sundays when we're just being lazy and not even leaving the house, she'll spend like an hour doing it and stay in PJs all day. And I tell her she doesn't have to, but she does it religiously, lol. Story 63. Not my partner, but my brother walks around poking people in the belly button. Not random people, just us family. He calls it belly button tag. It's so often that it's to the point where we all walk around with out hands over out belly buttons. It's almost embarrassing sometimes because I do it in public unintentionally. Story 64. She used to have these waking dreams. She'd sit up in bed and ask why there's a red cup on the ceiling, or point out that there's a giant spider on the ceiling. I'd look up and nothing there, tell her there's nothing, and to go back to sleep, and she would. She believed she was seeing like a 12-wide spider on the ceiling and just rolled over and went back to sleep because I said to. That's trust. LOL. Story 65. Not me, but a girl commented on a post similar to this and said her husband licks the condensation off the mirror when he gets out of the shower, and I just needed to bring it up. Story 66. My husband orders cheeseburgers in his sleep. One night I woke up to lettuce, tomato, pickles, no onion. I said what, and he just repeated himself. And another night he was saying something about mustard. It's also happened a few times since. Story 67. She doesn't like cold drinks food, so when we have ice cream she will have hers sit out for a few hours. She eats it when it is molten and at room temperature. I guess that's really okay for a weirdest thing. Haha. Story 68. He produces so much belly button lint, there's always a chunk every morning and evening. Where is it coming from? Most of the time it isn't even the color of what he was wearing? Baffles me. Story 69. Well, my partner has this peculiar habit of singing cheesy love songs to our houseplants while watering them. At first I found it utterly bizarre, but now I've just accepted it as part of our quirky household serenade routine. I figure if it keeps the plants thriving and puts a smile on my face, who am I to judge? Story 70. She'll call my name like she wants to say something to me. I'll respond. Then nothing. Then 5 minutes later, she'll start talking like I was supposed to be waiting for her to respond. I just go back to what I'm doing, and when I finally hear her speak, I ask her to repeat it. Story 71. He refuses to say or use the word love in any context. He has only ever told me he loves me twice in all our 15 YRs together. Once in writing and once verbally. He will say I you, which is his way of saying I love you to me and our kids. He replaces love with other words, usually lamp. So instead of I love eating cheesy potatoes, he would say, I lamp eating cheesy potatoes. Early in our relationship, it bothered me, but it grew on me, and now it is our thing. He says that the word love is used too frivolously, and that it really has no meaning because it is used in ways it shouldn't be, and he has had girlfriends in the past force him to say it when he didn't want to or feel that way. Now, if he said it, I would immediately ask, what is wrong? Are you dying? Story 72. He scream sneezes. I go through the ceiling when people scream sneeze. I'm just a jumpy person. He's aware it's annoying. His coworkers have let him know as well as myself. Fathers need to stop telling their sons to have a huge reaction while sneezing to expel everything. It's just not true, please stop it. Sincerely, the jumpy people. Story 73. In the mornings. Well, really, whenever he's asleep, when we are cuddling and he's spooning me, if I move away slightly to reach for my phone or for a sip of water, he will pull me back and hold me tighter like he just can't let me leave. It's so cute because he's fast asleep and has no idea he's doing it. I have to replace myself with a pillow he can grab onto, but most of the time I have to give up the fight and let him hold me until he gets tired of pulling me back in. Lol. Story 74. He's obsessed with mango juice. Go the extent drink 5-6 glasses any time of the day. Never seen anyone this in love with mango juice. One time, we did the deed, it was like 4 a.m., and he got himself a glass of mango juice. Now, I make sure to stock up. My husband is the least nosiest person in the universe. His options is if they don't tell me it's not my business to know. Like, for example, he went for lunch with a close friend of ours and he had a black eye. I saw a photo on Snapchat and when I asked how he got it, he shrugged. Like, dunno. He didn't tell me what you didn't ask? No. He'd tell me if it was my business. Story 75. Listens to niche history podcasts or stock market updates as white noise to fall asleep. I can sleep through anything, but sometimes they get interesting and stay up. Story 76. My boyfriend is a big guy, like 64 280 lbs. Big guy. He loves tiny things, loves them. The tinier the better. But then he also uses said tiny things. He will eat a whole meal with a shrimp fork because he loves tiny things so much. It cracks me up and makes me crazy all at the same time. Story 77. I really can't think of anything he does that's all that weird. I guess the only thing I can come up with is he insists on turning off every setting in the cars before getting out. Like the heat fans, the radio, the defrosters. Everything has to switch off. Mildly odd and slightly annoying when he does it to my car, but that's all I got. When asked, he didn't have an explanation for why. He's also one of those people that's extremely particular about what number the TV volume thermostatics is allowed to be and gets annoyed if I set to an odd number other than multiples of 5. I personally find this to be slightly neurotic behavior, but go off, I guess. Story 78 plays Skyrim and insists that the main quest of the entire game is to collect wooden spoons. And while she will play the game normally most of the time, I just cannot get her to say that the main quest has not got anything to do with the wooden shitty spoons. Story 79. After a wash, he hangs clothes around the house, not a drying rack, door handles, on a hanger over the door, etc. I think he's obsessed with water. Won't dry up countertops, floor after a shower, etc. Did I fall in love with a fish? Story 80. My wife sits in her car when she gets home from work, for upwards of 30 minutes sometimes. I don't care, unless I have hot food ready, then my blood boils. Story 81. In between activities or tasks, like going to the kitchen to get water or going downstairs to the car, he always has to beatbox or make noise-hissing mutter something to some degree. I call it his intermission music, and I find it endearing. Story 82. My wife, bless her heart, has never properly put any lid on anything. It's always just sitting on the jar. So when I go get the pickles out of the fridge, I have to grab it by the jar and not the lid. Story 83. My husband insists that the proper way to finish a shower is to dry off while standing in the shower. I have never heard of this from anyone outside his family. We have a very tiny shower and I think it's insane. I need room to dry off. His reasoning is that it keeps the floor from getting soaked. He asked me to try it out. I did try it, and I hated it. I compromised by taking steps to make sure the floor doesn't get wet. I stand in the shower an extra minute to let the water run off, and I wring my hair out in the shower. When he moved in with me, I bought extra bath mats to keep the floor from getting slippery. He acknowledges that I do actually keep the floor pretty dry. He just thinks it's weird that I don't want to stand in the shower to dry off. Story 84. He not only talks but responds in his sleep. One time he said, "Where did it go?" And I asked him where what went, and this goes, "I wasn't talking to you," and rolls over and starts snoring. Story 85. I already posted, but here is another. From the year 2010 until around 2013, my husband went through a phase of wearing only a blanket when at home. As soon as he got home, off came all clothing. And he would wrap up in this red quilt we had. He would remain in this blanket even when we had visitors. You couldn't tell he was completely naked, so most people just thought he had underwear and shorts on underneath. I know because I asked them, and then would tell them the truth just to see their reaction. Bahahaha. In 2012, we had moved to a different province, but I was very pregnant during the move, and so I stayed at my parents' in our home province, and he moved before me to get everything ready for me, our son, and soon-to-be newborn. Every couple weeks, I would take a 4HR ferry ride to go see him. The ferry got into the terminal around 1 a.m., and he would pick me up. One of these trips as the ferry was coming into the terminal and getting ready for deboarding, I could see him standing on the interior pedway waiting for me. He was wrapped up in the red blanket. I thought to myself, ha ha ha, I bet he is friggin' naked under that. Sure enough, I get to him and ask, "Are you wearing clothing?" He replies sheepishly, "No," then goes on to tell me how it was too cold to wait in the car. So he sat in the ferry terminal like this and had a whole conversation with the ticket agent. He soon stopped wearing just a blanket after that. It has been 11 years since that happened, and he recently just brought up the wearing only a blanket thing and said that he can't believe he did this. I will admit, I thought it was hilarious just how awkward it was for everyone else.